Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs. Early Saturday morning, late Friday night, depending on when you're watching this, after round one of the 2025 NFL Draft. On today's show, the Houston Texans round 2 and round 3 mock draft. Day 2 for your Houston Texans because we didn't take anybody in round 1. And if you missed all the festivities from round 1 of the 2025 NFL Draft, here's how it shook out. Cam Ward obviously going 1. Travis Hunter, the Jags trade up to get him at 2. Abdul Carter, Campbell, Graham, Genty was a big pick at 6 for the Raiders. Mbow at 7. Tedero McMillan. Then you go Kelvin Banks, who the Texans. I do believe the Texans were on the phone with the Saints at 9 to possibly move up to get Kelvin Banks. That's who they really wanted. The Saints end up taking him. A big surprise, Colston Loveland, the first tight end off the board at 10. Tyler Booker, another Texans guy off the board at 12 to the Cowboys. Tyler Warren to the Colts. Walter Nolan to the Cardinals. Then continuing, this graphic right here just broke my heart. Gray Zabel, the Texans wanted to take him. Emeka Egbuka, the Texans wanted to take him. Donovan Jackson, Matthew Golden, all right there before the Texans pick, all coming off the board. And I think all those, Gray Zabel, Emeka Egbuka, Matthew Golden, Donovan Jackson, all those guys going right before the Texans led to them making a trade with the New York Giants, where they felt like nobody on the board they wanted there at pick 25, so they went ahead and made this deal with the Giants. They traded their first-round pick. They get the Giants' second-round pick, the second pick in round 2 in this year's draft. Then they get a 2025 third at number 99. So the Texans have 5 picks tomorrow or today, depending on when you're watching that, in round 2 and round 3 of the 2025 NFL Draft. They get a 2026 third-round pick. Next year, they have their first, then they have 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths in the 2026 NFL Draft. Nick Caserio's got a lot to play with. And then, lastly, the last part of this draft, Jackson Dart, the guy who the Giants wanted to trade up for. Then James Pierce Jr., Malachi Starks, Tyleek Williams, Josh Connerly, and Josh Simmons going off the board at the very end did hurt me a little bit because I was hoping one of those guys would fall to the Texans at 34. Jahad Campbell at 31 honestly might be the best pick of round 1 of the 2025 NFL Draft. But I want to hear from you. Are you mad the Texans didn't make a pick in round 1? Are you mad that they traded out of round 1? Let me know in the comment section, yes or no. Give me your reasoning. I'm perfectly fine with it because I believe if Donovan Jackson was on the board, the Texans would have selected him at pick 25. But he got taken 1 pick before. So they go ahead and they get extra draft capital. They move back a little bit. And I think they're going to be able to get somebody comparable to who they were going to get at 25 anyways. I'm perfectly fine with it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. All right, let's go to my mock draft. Texans mock draft for day 2 at pick 34 in round 2. The pick that they traded with the New York Giants. They select Aireontae Ersery, tackle/guard out of Minnesota. I absolutely am perfectly fine with this pick. And I was kind of weighing, do you go with Luther Burden or a Jayden Higgins or a Noel, or do you take a guy like Aireontae Ersery? And in my mind, I'm like, the Texans need O-line. There was a big run at the end of round 1. If they wait until their next pick, I don't think they'll be able to get another guy. So you take the best guy on the board that you have at offensive line, somebody that you brought in for a top 30 visit, and you fit him in somewhere along this Texans starting offensive line. If they take Ersery, maybe you pull him into guard at left guard. You move Titus Howard back to right tackle, and then you figure out what else you do along the front 5. But I think you got to get more offensive line talent. And Ersery is definitely a talented young individual. I would love if he was the pick for the Texans at pick 34. I'd also be okay with guys like a Luther Burden. Maybe a Jayden Higgins. I'm okay with those picks as well. But I went ahead and went with Ersery with this selection in round 2, pick 34. Now, let's go to the Texans' next pick in round 2, pick 58. I went and got Kyle Williams, wide receiver from Washington State. I absolutely love this pick. And if this is how the Texans draft starts tomorrow and they get Ersery and Williams, it is an A++ draft in my opinion. Kyle Williams was fantastic this past year at Washington State. And the year prior, he was one of Cam Ward's go-to guys. 6 touchdowns, 842 yards, 13.8 yards per reception. This past year exploded even more, even without Cam Ward. Almost 1,200 yards, 17 yards per reception, 14 touchdowns on the year, 70 receptions for Wazoo. I think he fits perfectly right into this Texans wide receiver depth chart. You add him alongside Nico Collins, alongside Christian Kirk. He's your wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, and then you let the rest of the guys battle it out on the bottom of the depth chart with Xavier Hutchinson, John Mechie and company, Justin Watson, Braxton Berrios. I think the Texans go ahead and they take somebody, they have him as a top 3 receiver, and then they kind of see wherever the chips lie for the rest of those guys. Now, I have the round 3 selections for your Houston Texans coming up in just a moment, but I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing friends over at Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Texans Today and Chat Sports. You can get great deals on last-second tickets and even see your seat view before you buy the tickets with our friends over at Game Time. Save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater, and more. All-in prices show you what you pay without hidden fees or expenses. And Game Time has zone deals as well. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats for an average savings of 18%. And how about those Rockets? Tying it up against the Golden State Warriors. If you want to be at you want to be at Toyota Center, Game 5, get your tickets with our friends over at Game Time. When you use that code right there, Chat Sports, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Once again, use that code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Go check out Game Time today for all your last-second ticketing needs. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. Now, into round 3, I was pleasantly surprised with Jared Wilson falling to me at pick 79 in round 3. I would absolutely love this for the Houston Texans. I do think he goes somewhere in round 2, but if he's there in round 3, yeah, I think the Texans go ahead and do this. And also with 5 picks in rounds 2 and round 3, I expect Nick Caserio to move up, move down, do something with their selections that they have in round 2 and round 3. I didn't want to go ahead and make a ton of trades just because it's very hard to kind of think about where the Texans are going to move up, who they're going to select by moving up. So I just stuck with the picks the Texans have at the moment, and I went with Jared Wilson, who will immediately help you out in your interior offensive line. You know, he could be, maybe your center, or maybe he could be your right guard. You can fill out both your guard spots with Ersery and Wilson. Played at Georgia in the SEC, allowed 0 sacks, only 3 penalties. Great PFF grades for Jared Wilson. I think you add 2 guys on this offensive line, and you immediately add a ton of, talent competition to go on the interior, because I do think Cam Robinson is going to hold it down at left tackle. And then if you take those 2 guys, you can realistically have Titus Howard, Blake Fisher battle it out at right tackle, and then just have a whole bunch of guys battle for those 3 interior spots, including Juice Scruggs, Jarrett Patterson, Laken Tomlinson, Ed Ingram. Then you add in Ersery and Wilson. I absolutely love that idea for the Houston Texans, adding a ton of talent and competition in the offensive line room. I hope Jared Wilson falls to round 3. I really do. Let me know down in the comment section, though, who are you hoping falls into the 3rd round? Get down in the comment section and let me know. Obviously, the Texans have the 2nd pick in round 2, and then they pick again at 58. But who are you hoping slides a little bit more in this draft? Let's go to pick 89, where I have the Texans taking Ty Robinson, defensive lineman from Nebraska. He's one of the risers in this draft process, and I absolutely love him in round 3. He's a very versatile defensive lineman who can play, inside, maybe 3 technique, shade inside the guard. He can also even play head up against offensive tackles. And he's gotten better each and every year, with 2024 easily being his best season of his collegiate career. I think Ty Robinson could immediately come in and be a rotation guy and really help out this defensive line. I think adding him to this D-line, he would add a ton, and I think he would really help this Texans team and help them, get after the quarterback and, add to a ferocious front that they have already. Now, one more pick in round 3. I'm going to go with Jayden Blue, running back from Texas. And the only reason I feel like we have to take blue here, which granted, I could see the Texans trading up, maybe even trading back down a little bit. But the Texans don't have any picks in round 4 or round 5. So no way are you going to have a guy like a Jayden Blue fall to you all the way into round 6. Maybe you package some of those picks up and go into round 5 or 4. But I think you just are better safe than sorry here in taking Jayden Blue at the end of round 3. Add some more pop to your running back room. Kind of a lightning to Joe Mixon's thunder. Can catch the ball out of the backfield. Has blazing speed. I would like this pick for the Texans. I want them to go heavy offense tomorrow, and I expect them to continue to be wheeling and dealing on the phones just as Nick Caserio always does. Reminder, if you want to hit me up on Twitter, you can do so at Jeremy Chugs. My DMs are always open. And as always, hit that subscribe button for all your Texans news and rumors content. How many other guys are making videos past midnight on draft night? Not a ton. We do it here at Texans Today because we love the Houston Texans and we love you. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. I try my best to get y'all the best content, the most content out there, and that's what I'm doing right now, making this video at, what is this, almost 1 a.m. in the morning. That's what we're here for. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you made it to the end, drop those H's in the comment section. Make sure you hit that sub button.